Vietnam. It wasn't much of a war, but it was bloody, vicious, and long. 58,000 fellow soldiers came home only as a name on granite. Most of all, it was controversial. We argued about it from its beginning during World War II and its end in April of 1975. My family was present at the beginning and the end. An uncle made the trip to Hanoi aboard a U.S. Navy troop ship carrying French soldiers to reestablish their control over the colonial Indo-Chinese country. It ended in 1975 when I sent the last shipload of ammo from Okinawa to Saigon, where it was immediately captured on the docks. None of us wanted to go, but we all joined Uncle Sam's army to defend the Constitution, and our civilian political leaders declared that the war was necessary. We fought for a different reason than we joined up. For the man in the foxhole next to us, he was the tie that bonds the band of brothers. The band of brothers is stronger than any other. Read Why Men Fight chapter in the S.L.A. Marshall 1947 book, Men at War, for a discussion. 50 years later, we gathered together to commemorate our tours. A micronism of American society, we still have different opinions on the necessity of the war, but we are inexorably bonded together by the band of brothers, the tie that makes us fight. The true worth of our sacrifices will not be known for another 50 years after we are long gone, but the sacrifices of our generations will never be debated. After all, we were American soldiers, and we must never let our KIA and WIA brothers be forgotten. What follows is a message for families and friends, briefly explaining the ethos of the military academy, better expressed by a poetry reading. The Corps, the Corps, the Corps. The Corps bareheaded saluted, with eyes up thanking our God, that we of the Corps are treading where they of the Corps have trod. Who among us would not thank our God for allowing us to walk among such giants as Grant, MacArthur, Patton, Eisenhower, Nininger, Donlin, and Versailles? 4 of them were great captains since Napoleon, and 4 received the Medal of Honor. They wrote the modern American Army history with their blood, toil, sweat, and tears. They are here in ghostly assemblage, the men of the Corps long dead, and our hearts are standing attention while we wait for their passing tread. More than half of the 80,000 member Long Gray Line is with us in ghostly assemblage. You remember them talking to you when you were in the heat of battle? Did they guide your actions and your decision making? Who knows? We were intensely concentrating on what was happening before us and around us. 4 years at West Point imbued us with the courage, sense of duty, and esprit de corps necessary to fight the good fight when it really counted. We sons of today, we salute you, you sons of an earlier day. We follow close order behind you where you have pointed the way. Yes, they pointed the way for us through association with cadets who shared like values, took the same oath of office, virtually unchanged since September 1789. Our mentors, professors, and leaders set the example for us and taught us to choose the harder right rather than the easier wrong. The long gray line of us stretches through the years of the century told, and the last man feels to his marrow the grip of your far-off hold. I remember the retreat formation on 5 July 1955 when 750 sweaty, hot plebes formed up to take the oath of office. It was blistering hot as we stood with our right hands raised and repeated the oath after the soup, Lieutenant General Blackshear Bryan. The world seemed silent as we repeated the sacred words, defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Behind the soup on Battle Monument, were the names of 2,200 regular Army soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice during the Civil War. All of the officers and senior cadets present took that oath. We would be the next cohort to step into the long gray line. I remember none of the other words spoken on that day except drop that bag. Grip hands with us now, though we see not. Grip hands with us, strengthen our hearts. As the long line stiffens and straightens with the thrill that your presence imparts. Close your eyes for a moment and let your mind drift to your place in the line as future cohorts join the long gray line. It has been our responsibility to pass the strength and courage to the living portion of the line. Our course on earth is nearly run. May it be said, well done, be thou at peace. It will be our responsibility to stiffen and straighten through our presence and holding a firm hand on the shoulder of each grad as they go forth to defend the Constitution. Grip hands, though it be from the shadows, as we swear as you did of yore, or living or dying to honor the Corps and the Corps and the Corps. Finally, family and friends, this is what it was all about for nearly 1,500 of us who went to Vietnam and over 300 of us who did not return.